I would like to introduce Mr. Caulfield.
Thank you, Mr. Caulfield.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chowdhury.
I apologise.
In relation to Mr. Hirst, I have a question that I wonder about the number of roles that people have where in this position. So Mr. Hirst is the chairman, obviously, and chairman is a more onerous role than simply a director. But to also be a director at AMCIL Limited and a director of Booton Limited, you know, both ASX-listed companies, those directorships take time as well as the chairmanship here. But it's not just that. There's also directorships of GMHBA Limited and Adelaide Airport as well. And then beyond that, there is good work that is done as an honorary member of the Business Council of Australia. But 6 roles, including a chairmanship, in my view, is too much. And I note that APRA is looking at these types of things to see where they can govern. So you can tell from my questions, I'm concerned with things that are happening inside of AMP, and, you know, an amount of time has to be dedicated. Now, I note, Mr. Chowdhury, that you said we, the board, are, you know, I can't remember the exact words, are satisfied that he has the time and to put in. I stood up at the Bendigo AGM, and maybe Mr. Hirst remembers, and I questioned Mr. Foster at the time, who was a director of Bendigo, and I said, I think you've got too many roles. Now, subsequently, Mr. Foster, as chairman, was found he couldn't handle all of those things. To have a couple of directorships is reasonable. You get some cross-fertilisation of ideas. Mm-hmm. So I'm not saying just a chairman or a directorship of 1. 2 is entirely good. 3 is pushing the envelope. But when it's 6 roles, I think that that's too many, and I think that that has a diluting adverse impact on each of those.
Well, thank you, Mr. Caulfield. I'll invite Mike to respond to the question of whether he's got too many roles. What I can tell you, though, on behalf of the board, is that Mike, as chairman, spends all the time he needs to chair the board and to interact with the CEO. And you'll see from the director's report, Mike has not missed a single meeting of the board or any of the committees that he attends. Not just that, but there are several interactions that Mike has with members of the board and with management, and he does that right through the year. And I believe I speak for the entire board when I say to you that Mike spends all the time he needs to at AMP. Mike.
Thanks, Rahul. So, Mr. Caulfield, when I took on the chairman role, I resigned my role on the Button board, so I'm no longer on that board. And it's just that it's in the annual report because you have to put in there whatever listed board you're on during the year. So I'm no longer on that board. I also resigned my position as acting chairman of Racing Victoria so that I could devote more time to AMP. I think the general rule that, I think it might be an ASO, that they allocate points, and they say 5 points is as much as anyone should have. It's 2 points for being a director and then 2 points for being a chairman and then a point for each board that you're on. So I have a total of 5 points, which is within what they consider to be reasonable. The other thing that I'd say is that, you know, when you've been a CEO of a large listed company, you learn to manage your time particularly well, and you know, you work big hours. And I'm very capable of working 40, 50, 60 hours a week, whatever it needs to be to get a job done. Not that I have to do that anymore. And I certainly believe that I know how to allocate my time appropriately. I think, or I hope my fellow directors would think I'm very well prepared for every meeting I come to. I'd like to think that the CEO has access to me whenever is required and that I provide the appropriate amount of time for her. So I appreciate your comments. I agree with them to some degree that you can have too many, but I don't believe that I'm in that situation.
Well, thank you for clarifying the one directorship that you mentioned that you'd resigned from, so that's a step in the right direction and something you appreciated. Thank you. Further to Mr. Chowdhury's comments about attending meetings, We could look at all of the directors in all of the big corporates of Australia, and nearly every director attends every meeting. And yet we see major failures in corporations. So attending meetings is not the measurement of what will succeed or not. There's something else there. There's some deep commitment there that is required beyond simply attending a meeting, etc. And I'm sure that there are those things here. But if we talk to STAR, if we looked up the annual reports of STAR, where ASIC is investigating every single director now, and go back a couple of years, the chairman said, I can assure you that every director has the time, and clearly they didn't. There were things that were missed. It's just worth thinking about, how much can we take on in complex businesses? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Caulfield. Attending meetings was only one of the KPIs that I'd referred to, but thank you.
Thank you.